Okay, let me start the session. So today, in the previous class, we have studied some concepts related to non-coherent orthogonal modulation. So under modulation schemes, what are we discussing about? Non-coherent modulation techniques. What do you mean by non-coherent modulation techniques? The non-coherent modulation techniques essentially means the following: at the receiver, or the receiver is not having the complete knowledge of the phase of the carrier signal. That is what we mean by non-coherent techniques or non-coherent detectors. The receivers in which there is no complete knowledge of the phase of the carrier is called they are called as non-coherent detectors or non-coherent receivers. So actually, let me revise the previous class first so that it would become a proper platform for further discussions. So now let us have a binary signaling scheme. Means you are having two signals named as S1 of t and S2 of t. So these signals are modulated signals. For the time being, we will assume. Let us not bother about the type of modulation and those equations. So we want to transmit this modulated signal over a communication channel. So one advantage of these two signals is we will choose the signals such that they are orthogonal to each other. So it is a proper there. It is one particular property of these two signals. So whenever it is sent through the channel, what it will do, it will vary the phase of the carrier by a random amount. Usually we will transmit with zero phase, let us assume. So what does the channel will do? The channel will add some random phase to the carrier. So therefore, the S1 of t and S2 of t will no longer be the original signals. They would be converted to G1 of t and G2 of t. So what are G1 and G2? G1 and G2 are nothing but the phase shifted versions of S1 of t and S2 of t. So this phase shifted signals will be corrupted with noise, and that noisy corrupted phase shifted signal you are going to receive. So therefore x of t is given by G1 of t. This is the phase shifted signal. What is W of t? This is the noise quantity. So now what is the status of the receiver? See, the receiver knows what is the frequency of the carrier, but it doesn't know what is the phase of the carrier. Why? Because the channel will add a random phase to it. Channel will add a random phase to it, so that receiver will definitely not have the knowledge of the phase. So in such particular cases, we call the receivers as non-coherent receivers. Since the signals are orthogonal to each other, the techniques are called as non-coherent orthogonal techniques. So that is what the thing. And this was the block diagram which we have seen in the yesterday's class. So how the block diagram is looking: x of t is the received signal. That signal is being passed through the two channels. Why these two channels are being used? Because we can transmit either S1 of t or S2 of t. So therefore we have developed two channels. Okay, so x of t, let us analyze the first channel. The same thing analysis could be done for the second channel, and the upper channel output is designated as L1, the lower channel output is designated as L2. So what we will do, we will assume, or we will we will assume that let us transmit S1 of t. We are having two signals right now. Let us transmit S1 of t. Remember, we are transmitting S1 of t. So for as an example case, we have considered S1 of t as cos 2 pi fct and S2 of t as sin 2 pi fct. the two choices have been made so that the signals are orthogonal with respect to each other. Then during the transmission of the signal over the channel will introduce a random phase that is represented by theta, and also the channel will introduce the noise. So totally the received signal is cos 2 pi fct, because we are transmitting s1 of t, plus the noise added by the channel, plus the phase added by the channel, random phase added by the channel, plus the noise. Now if you expand that using cos of a plus b identity, you are going to get this. So this signal is passed through a matched filter. So what is a matched filter? That all of you know. Okay, what is a matched filter? It is a filter matched to S1 of t. Then what is the impulse response of the filter? The impulse response of the filter is given by S1 of capital T minus small t. That is the impulse response of the filter. So the output of the filter is the convolution integral. Output is the convolution integral. So therefore, the output is shown over here. Y of t is equal to integral of 0 to t x of tau cos of 2 pi fc t minus capital T plus tau d tau. The plus sign and the minus sign, that should be carefully written. If you had properly followed the derivations earlier in the discussion of matched filters, you could easily recall. Okay, so this is the actual formula of the matched filter output. Okay, so now what is y of t? It is the matched filter output. So now here also you are having cos of a plus b. You can apply cos of a plus b identity with a as cos of 2 pi fc t minus t and b as cos of 2 pi fc tau. So if you use that particular identity, then we have the expressions as follows. Okay, which is shown by the second equation in the array. Okay, so then if you segregate the integrals properly, then finally the last equation would be the output of the matched filter. So this output, if you observe, it has a component associated with the cosine term and a component or a coefficient, however you call, better you call it as component associated with the sine term. And what is the frequency? It is fc. You need not worry about this. This is just a time value. So therefore, for the sine component, this can be called as a carrier also. So for this sine carrier, so there is one component. And for cosine carrier, there it is having another component. So the component which is associated with the cosine term is called as the in phase component, and the component which is associated with the sine term, it is called as the not out of phase, it is called as quadrature phase component. So which has been written over here. Yc of t be the in phase component, ys of t be the out of phase components. Okay, so what are these things? These things, that yc of t and ys of t, from where we have obtained? We have obtained that from the output of the matched filter. So you know how to extract the in phase component from y of t. Just find out the component associated with the cosine term. How to find out quadrature component? As find out the term associated with the minus sine 2 pi fct component. That's what it has been written. Okay, so now these are the in phase and the quadrature phase components. Okay, so that has been listed. Finally, if you again observe the block diagram, the output of the matched filter is given to an envelope detector. So what does the envelope detector will do? Given a signal, it will calculate the envelope. So what do you mean by envelope mathematically? So mathematically, the envelope is defined as follows. Given any particular signal, okay, given any particular signal, what do you mean by the envelope? envelope of a signal is given as root of the square of the in phase component plus square of the quadrature phase components. That is the meaning, mathematical meaning of the envelope. Okay. So if you do that particular calculation, so you are going to get this term, so which is read as follows: 0 to t x of tau cos 2 pi f c t tau square plus 0 to t x of tau sin 2 pi f tau d tau square under root. Okay, so the next thing in the block diagram, if you observe, so where were we? We are here at the output of the envelope detector. So the output of the envelope detector is sampled at time t is equal to t. Okay, so what do you mathematically mean by sample at time t is equal to t? So that we will see. Sample at time t is equal to t means take an expression wherever small t is there, you substitute with capital T. That's what the expression. So this is the output of the envelope, the output of the sampler. Okay, so this is the sampler output. Okay, just observe, which is called as L1. So just observe, we are here L1. We have sent the signal to the upper channel. We went through all these blocks. Okay, and finally we are landed at L1. Finally, we are landed at L1. Okay, so that has been written. Now, from our analysis, what does this cos 2 pi fc tau d tau? It is nothing but our signal. What that is S1 of tau. What is this sin 2 pi fc tau d tau? It is the second signal S2 of tau. You can cross check also. So cos 2 pi fc tau d cos 2 pi fc tau and sin 2 pi fc tau are the signals of for transmission. So therefore, it has been written S1 of tau and S2 of tau. That modification has been done, and later you need to calculate these two individual terms, the terms within the flower bracket. So one flower bracket expression has been considered. Just say x of tau s1 of tau d tau square. Okay, under integration, what is x of tau? Just substitute what is x of tau, what is s1 of tau, you keep it as it is. So from where did you get this x of tau? From where did you get this x of tau means from the first equation. So x of t is equal to s1 of t cos theta minus s2 of t sin theta plus w of t. From here we can get that particular thing and we can simplify. And with the definition of orthogonality and all, these terms will finally get reduced to, okay, reduced to, just observe, x of tau s1 of tau square, it is finally gets reduced to cos theta plus wj square. So the first term within the flower bracket reduced to cos theta plus wj square, and the second term will correspondingly reduce to minus sin theta plus ws square. Then what would be the value of L1? If you find out the value of L1, you would get 1 plus 2 into some noise associated terms. So this is the formula for L1. So remember what is L1? Remember what is L1? It is the output of the upper channel. Okay. Similarly, you calculate the same mathematics for the lower channel and compute the L2. So that has not been shown over here. Directly it has been written. So L2 is equal to, it is, if you calculate, you are going to get this. So now if you just try to compare L1 and L2. So which is larger, L1 is greater than L2. By mere comparison, we can say L1 is greater than L2. Okay, what is the cause for all these things? What is the cause? The main cause is I am transmitting some signal. Just observe what has been done. Let us assume that S1 of t has been transmitted. So if this has been transmitted, then what has happened? The L1 and L2 are compared, and then we got L1 greater than L2. So therefore a statement has been made when S1 of t is transmitted, we have L1 greater than L2. Okay, so this is a particular condition. Similar analysis needs to be done for S2 of t transmission. In that, a reverse case happens, that is L1 less than L2. Here L1 is greater than L2, but when S2 of t is being transmitted, so the reverse case will happen wherein you are getting L1 less than L2. So that has been written exactly in the block diagram over here. L1 greater than L2, choose S1 of t. L1 less than L2, that means S2 of t has been transmitted. So this is the basic principle which will be used in detectors or the receivers which doesn't have the complete knowledge of the phase. Okay. There are other methods also wherein we can calculate what is the carrier phase. Okay, the topic is called as carrier synchronization. For that you need to have extra circuitry and analysis. That circuitry, what it will do, it will take the received signal. From the received signal, it will extract the carrier phase and then it will feed to the detector network. So that is a lengthy process. An alternate method is this particular technique. So this orthogonal modulation we have considered. We have done an orthogonal modulation and we have transmitted, and the effect of phase phase insertion has been done by the channel. Okay, then we received the signal and finally we detected which signal has been transmitted. So for this particular thing, what is the probability of error? Because the probability of error depends upon the detection process. So here, since the detection process is somewhat different, so what would be the probability of error? The probability of error derivation is not included in the syllabus. So as per the syllabus, he has told just we need to mention the formula of probability of error. I repeat, the error probability for non-coherent detectors, okay, is not for error probability. There is, for those things there is no derivation. Only we need to state the expression, or we need to just show you the expression. So the error probability is given by 1 by 2 exponential power minus e divided by 2 n naught. N naught is a constant associated with the noise. E is the energy of the symbol. So how, if you use two symbols, E is nothing but equal to EB. Okay, two symbols, that is binary case. E is nothing but EB. Okay, so that we will see it later. So what is the E? E is the symbol energy. Okay, each symbol will have so many number of bits that could also be written. This expression could be written in terms of EB also, that is bit energy. Currently we will keep this as the expression. So keeping this in mind, so if we consider this block diagram, just observe, this is a non-coherent detector block diagram. Just observe, here also you are having a matched filter, but filter matched to a different value. Currently we let us not bother about this. Just observe the blocks: matched filter followed by an envelope detector followed by a sampler. Again the output of the first sampler is L1, second sampler is L2. Comparison has happened and they have told. So what is this block diagram intended to? So here we are transmitting a BFSK signal. What is BFSK signal? Binary frequency shift keying. Means you are doing frequency modulation or frequency shift keying. So how many binary? How many signals you are having? You are having two signals, S1 of t and S2 of t. Okay, so those two things are there. Okay, and finally all the blocks are same because this is the BFSK you transmit. So you have transmitted, you know what are the basic equations of SI of t, that you can recall if you open the BFSK topic. Okay, so now if you want to design a non-coherent receiver for the BFSK, it looks like this. X of t is the received signal. Then you are having a matched filter. So the first matched filter, it should be matched to the first filter. It should be matched to which function? Cos 2 pi f1t. Cos 2 pi f1t. This is only the change with respect to the previous block diagram. There, because that is, this BFSK receiver is a non-coherent receiver, we should completely take it from the previous concept only. So therefore, only change is the matched filter or the filter which is matched to which one. So which function the filter should be matched. Here it should be matched to cos 2 pi f1t. The lower channel filter should be matched to cos 2 pi f2t. That's all is the difference. L1, if just observe the if you have thoroughly understood the previous diagram, if L1 is greater than L2, then what he had written was choose S1 of t. But as per our discussion, S1 of t corresponds to symbol 1. Therefore, they have written choose 1. Same thing explanation could be given for L1 less than L2. There, what was the decision? Choose S2 of t, or S2 of t has been transmitted. S2 of t corresponds to symbol 0. That is the thing. Okay. Again, the explanation could be same, and very important thing to tell you is whatever the derivation I have shown, the mathematical expression or of the each block output, that is not required for the examination point of view. What is not required? Carefully here, the filter input, filter output, envelope detector input, envelope detector output, sampler outputs, all are not very much necessary for the examination. Okay, the very thing necessary is the block diagram and the corresponding explanation of the block. So the explanation of the block diagrams, that would be written and given to you in the form of the notes. It will be uploaded to you very shortly. Okay, so therefore in the exam they may ask, explain the principle of non-coherent detection. So what you need to write? So what you need to write, explain the principle of non-coherent detection means you need to write this block diagram and explanation related to this particular block diagram. You need not show the following mathematics. These things are not required. Okay, that is what. So I will write it and give it to you in the form of a notes. Okay. So now we were here BFSK. This block diagram requires no explanation because I have already explained it in with respect to the non-coherent detection principles. Okay. So the block diagram has been just tailored for BFSK. Only change what you need to do is here, instead of writing S1 of t, you are supposed to write it as cos 2 pi f1t, over here cos 2 pi f2t. And directly you can write the expression for probability of error, that is half into exponential power minus EB divided by 2n0. This is the formula. You can directly write over here. This is the privilege what you can get. Okay. So the next thing is the DPSK. So this is the next thing, next topic under discussion, that is the differential phase shift keying. Okay. So this topic would be discussed in the next class. Okay. By this, let me stop today's discussion. So in the tomorrow, we will just start the last modulation technique, that is the DPSK, differential phase shift keying. Okay. Thank you.